Hello, good evening everyone. So this video is regarding past paper solving. So you all can see on the screen we are about to solve Cambridge Economics IGCSE past paper, and the year would be October November 2024. As you all can see, the component code is 12. So we'll be solving this paper. So let's begin. So the first question you all can see on the screen is, which economic question is least likely to arise as a result of scarcity? So this question is from the first section. You all have, if you all remember the three questions which every economy has to face or answer, that would be what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Okay, so if you all can see options, for whom will we produce, this we definitely have to answer, or this question arises. Second is how will we produce. Third option is what will we produce, and the fourth option, that is when will we produce. So the question is least likely to arise, and this question is hardly, we never have heard about this question which is coming out. So the right option would be option number D, when will we produce. Moving ahead with the next question, that is question number 2, what is opportunity cost. So I guess they are asking for the definition of opportunity cost. Let's see the options. Option A, the allocation of resources in an economy, no. Option 2, the cost to the individual when they consume a good, no. Third option, the lack of goods and services available to satisfy unlimited want, no. This is problem of scarcity. So let's see the option number D, the next best alternative foregone when making an economic decision. Yes, this is the right definition of of opportunity cost. All right. So very easy question. Let's move ahead with the third question. The diagram shows a PPC for an economy that produces two goods X and Y. Which point shows the greatest opportunity cost for 1 unit of X? Okay, so let's just highlighting this thing. So they are asking us to calculate, or to measure what is the greatest opportunity cost of 1 unit of X. So for this question, I would recommend just plot this points over here. So I have already done over here, as you all can see, one horizontal line as well as one vertical line. So if you can see, one vertical and horizontal line I have drawn. This will make us to find out the opportunity cost, the greatest opportunity cost, easier. So let's see over here. So if you all can see over here, I am over here. So just assume from A I have to increase my production of good X. So from A I am moving to B. Alright. So from this point, if I am moving over here, what I have to sacrifice? I have to sacrifice this many units of good Y. Alright. So let's see from B to C. So from this point, if I want to, just hold on, I'll change the color. This would be better. So from this point, if I want to increase the units of good X, what would be the sacrifice which I need to do? I have to sacrifice this many units of good Y. Alright. So the question is, which point shows the greatest opportunity cost of producing one more unit of good X? So the right answer would be C, because if I'm moving from B to C, I have to sacrifice the maximum as compared to this part. So the right answer would be option number C. I hope this question you all are able to get it. Just remember, for this type of question, just use your scale and draw or connect the dots. Then this question would be more easier to answer. All right. Moving ahead with the next question, that is question number 4. A period of bad weather leads to a failure of the rice crop. Okay, what is the effect of the market for rice? So in this question, if you all can see over here, if there is a bad weather, if there is a failure of the rice crop, obviously there would be shortage of rice, not an surplus. So this two option is directly eliminated. So there would be a shortage. Let's see, a shortage of rice and a fall in price. Fall in price, no. If there is a shortage, the price should increase. Option number B, a shortage of rice and a rise in its price. So right answer would be option number B. Easy question, I would say. Next, the diagram shows a change in demand for coffee. So you all can see over here, question number 5th, the change in demand, that is demand has shifted from left to right, from D1 to D2. Okay, so what would cause the demand for coffee to change from D1 to D2? Now remember this point, always when there is a shift in the demand curve, it is always and always due to non-price factor. Okay, now let's see the options. A good coffee harvest, a good coffee harvest, okay, this will affect my supply. So not necessary this will affect my demand. Next option is a rise in the price of substitute drinks. Okay. Third option, a rise in the wages of coffee workers. Okay, this will not shift the demand, because if the wages of the coffee workers is increasing, this will again affect your supply and your cost of production will increase. Okay, so technically this will decrease your supply. So this is eliminated. This is also eliminated. Last one, a successful advertising campaign for tea. So if there is a successful advertising campaign for tea, your demand for tea should increase, not the coffee. So again, this is eliminated. Now let's understand why this would be the right option, a rise in the price of substitute drinks. So just like let's take an example. What would be the substitute of coffee? Substitute nothing but a competitor. So normally I would say tea. Okay, so if there is a rise in the price of tea, so what would be happening for the demand for coffee? Obviously, demand for coffee will increase. Okay, and the demand of coffee is increasing due to the increase in the price of the tea. So hence this is a non-price factor. Coffee's price is not increasing. Understand this thing. The price of the tea is increasing. That's the reason this would be my right answer. Okay, so I hope this question you all are able to understand it. All right, moving ahead with the next question, that is, the table shows the supply for product at different prices. If the price changes from 12 to 14, what would be the change in supply? Okay. All right, so let's do this calculation over here. Okay, so if you all can see the question, if the price changes from 12 to 14, so 12 to 14, what will be the change in supply? So supply will contract by 40, supply will contract by 200. See, this is directly eliminated. As you all know, whenever the price increases, supply will always extend. Okay, so I hope this concept is clear. Supply will extend, and when the price decreases, supply will contract. So in this case, price is increasing. Okay, so the supply has to extend over here. So let's see the option number C and D, that is, supply will extend by 40 units and there would be a movement up along that supply curve. Okay, that makes sense. Supply will extend by 200. No, supply will, now understand, don't get confused between 2 and by. Here the question is, the option is supply will extend by 200. No, if you all can see over here, the difference is only 40. So supply will extend by 40 units. All right, and the movement would be up along the supply curve. That's why option number C is the right one. If you all can see over here, I'll just brief you about this. You all just a minute, huh? If you all can see my diagram over here, supply curve is always upward sloping. So if the okay, so suppose this price is 12, okay, and in the quantity supplied was 160 units. Now if the price is increasing from 12 to 14, it has increased from 12 to 14, and my quantity supplied has also increased from 60 to 200. So that's the meaning that the supply curve has extended and it is upward sloping. It's having an movement up along the supply curve. So that is the reason this C option is the right answer. All right. This is my supply curve. I hope you all know this y-axis is always for price and this x-axis is for quantity demanded or supplied. Alright, this would be always and always 0. This is question number 6. Alright, let's move ahead to the next question, that is question number 7. Which changes would move the equilibrium in the diagram from point X to Z? So right now we are over here. The question is how we can come over here, that is this point. So the first option is a decrease in demand with a decrease in supply. Okay, so if your demand is decreasing, that means it's shifting towards the left side. So that's the reason A is eliminated. A decrease in demand, again this is eliminated because your demand should increase. All right. So over here, if you can see, your new demand curve should be over here. Okay, just hold on. So basically your new demand curve should be over here and your new supply curve should shift left side. So the right option would be an increase in demand and decrease in the supply. Yes, if you all can see, my demand is shifting rightward and my supply curve is shifting towards the left hand side in order to have the equilibrium at Z. So that's the reason option number C would be the right one. Let's see the D wala also. An increase in demand, that's right, but an increase in supply. So because of this line or this word, this becomes a incorrect option. Because of supply is increasing, your new equilibrium would be over here. So hence D is not the right option. Alright, easy question. Next, let's see the next question, that is question number 8. When the price of shirt rises from $8 to $10, the demand for shirts falls from 1000 to 500. What is the value of the price elasticity of demand for shirts? Okay, so let's for this question I would suggest let's do the calculation thing. So I hope you all know the formula. Alright, so you all I have already solve this question just to save time. So I hope you all know the formula, that is what is price elasticity of demand, percentage change in demand divided by percentage change in price. And what's the formula for percentage change in demand? New demand minus old demand divided by old demand into 100. So just replace, just substitute this. New demand is what? 500. So 500 minus 1000 divided by 1000 into 100. So you will get it as minus 50%. So the change in demand has decreased. So that's the reason it's coming in minus. Okay. And change in price is 8 to 10. So you all can see over here, same concept, same formula, that is instead of demand you will have to just write new price. So what's the formula for percentage change in price? That is new price minus old price divided by old price into 100. So what was my old price over here? 8 and new price is 10. So that's why 10 minus 8 divided by old price, that is $10 into 100, you will get 25%. So here if you all can see over here, PED would be greater than 1 because your price increased by 25% and demand fell by 50%. So what's the formula for price elasticity of demand? That is percentage change in demand, that is 50% divided by percentage change in price. So 50% divided by 25% would be 2. Percentage gets cut and PD would be actually -2. But as you all know, minus doesn't make any, we don't actually use it, but it is just to show it is happening because it is inversely proportion. Price is increasing, demand is decreasing. That's the reason. Okay. So, but the question they have asked us was, is it greater than 1, unitary, less than 1, or 0? So, obviously 2 is greater than 1. So, the right answer would be option number A. Okay. So, now this same question they can twist. Next time they'll give you numbers like 2, 5, 0.5. In that you have to select. So again, some calculation. I don't think this question was difficult at all. Alright, moving ahead to the ninth one. A government intends to build a new international airport in an area of outstanding natural beauty. Okay, what would be an external cost of this decision? Okay, for this thing you all should know what is external cost. External cost means it's a cost to that person who is nowhere related to your business. Okay, it's a third person. He is a third person who is nowhere related. So let's see the option. The cost of importing construction material. No, this would be actually a private cost. Hold on, my highlighter. Okay, this would be a private cost. Okay, but the question is for external cost. Second option, the enjoyment lost by those unable to use countryside. Okay, this makes sense. Let's see the third option, the increase in profit for local business. How is this a cost? Okay, so this is eliminated. Even this is eliminated. The wages paid to the construction workers. Again, this is a private cost. Alright, so the right option would be option number B. Always remember, for MCQs, you all should know what is the right option. I mean, why is the right option, the reason behind it, as well as you should know why the other three options are incorrect. So that's the actual way of doing any MCQ papers. Alright. Next question. What is an important role of central bank? Okay, so they are asking about central bank. In India, our central bank is RBI, that's Reserve Bank of India. Let's see the options. Attempt to achieve price stability. Okay. Issue of credit card. No, this is done by commercial banks. Provide loans to producers. Again, commercial bank. Providing saving accounts for consumers. Which central bank does this? Tell me. So the right option would be option number A. In fact, this is nothing but monetary policies. Central bank normally they are the one who takes care about the inflation. Okay, so this is one of the monetary policies they can use. Okay, now the next question. How would a change in demand for labor affect the labor market in an occupation? Okay, so I guess we have to just sync it, and which is the correct options we have to see. Okay, so change in demand for labor decreased. So change in the equilibrium wage decreased. Okay, changes in quantity of labor supplied extend. No, if your wages is decreasing, if your demand is decreasing, wages will obviously decrease. How quantity supplied will be increased or it will extend? No, like if I'm getting less payment, I'm not ready to supply more. So is not the correct one. B option, let's see. Changes in demand for labor decreased, equilibrium increased, wage equilibrium increased, and changes in quantity of labor supply contracted. This is right, but this doesn't make sense. If the demand of labor is decreasing, the wage will decrease, not increase. Okay, so this is eliminated. C option, change in demand for labor increased, change in equilibrium decreased. Again, this doesn't make sense. Okay, so if this is increasing, demand is increasing, how will the wage decrease? It should also increase. Okay, so this is again eliminated. Let's see option number D. Change in demand for labor increased. Okay, change in the equilibrium wage increased, correct, and change in the labor supply extended. So D is the right answer. Again, not that easy question and not that difficult. It's also a medium average level question. Okay. Let's move to the next question. Question number 12. A fast food multinational sorry bought a food ordering website. Okay. In order to allow multinational customers to download menus and make advance payment. Okay. So which term best describes this merger? So 12th one, okay, option number A, backward vertical. I don't think this is a backward, because if he merges with the suppliers, then it would be a backward. But here he is merging with the retail online thing, I can say e-commerce website. So this would be more towards forward. So this would be eliminated. Conglomerate, no, this is again eliminated. Again, option number C is the right one, because it's a forward vertical. And horizontal, normally, as you all know, it happens with the firms of the similar industry at the same level or same stage of production. So again, this is eliminated. So the right answer would be option number C. Okay, now moving ahead with the next one, question number 13. The diagram shows the average total cost of a firm in the long run. So if you all can see over here, average total cost has decreased. Okay, it has shifted towards the left. Now, what would cause the shift from ATC 1 to ATC 2? Difficulties in controlling the firm. If there is a difficulty, the average cost should increase. Okay, next option is external economies of scale. Okay, this makes sense. Managerial economies of scale. Okay, see now, understand over here. First of all, you all should know what is external economies and what is internal economies of scale. By the way, what is economies of scale? The decrease in the average cost. Now this will make sense, both will make sense, because there is a decrease in my average cost. Okay, now the question is in the long run. Because it's in the long run, the right answer would be option number B, external economies of scale. So what is external economies of scale? Basically, uh, it's an average, it's a decrease in the average cost, but it's not because of your firm, but it is because of the entire, what I can say, external factors. External factors are basically the reason due to which the average cost is decreasing, and this mostly happens in the long run. Technical economies of scale, again, these both things are internal economies of scale, and this normally happens, not necessary it will happen in a long run, it normally happens in short run period. Okay, so the right answer would be B. If the question would be in a short run, then you could have considered C or D would be the right answer. But here it is in a long run, and that's the reason your average total cost is decreasing, shifting towards the left. Okay, so the right answer would be option number B. Moving ahead with option number 14, which what is most likely to encourage a capital intensive method in a low income economy? Okay, I hope you all know what is capital intensive method. It is when your production is happening, I mean the proportion of labors and machines, in that case the proportion of machine is more compared to labors, that is capital. So you are using more of machine equipment, gadgets and all to do the production. So what would be the right option over here? Expensive capital equipment, no. If it's expensive, then why are you using more capital intensive? In that case, labor should be more. Grants from foreign aid programs, okay. C, supply of local low cost labors. If again this is eliminated, if cost is low, then I'll use more proportion of laborers, right? A shortage of highly trained supervisors. Okay, this doesn't make sense. Okay, so the right answer would be option number B. That's the reason I'm using more capital intensive. Okay, because I'm getting grants from foreign. Okay, next. Question number 15. The average revenue is $20. It sells 1,000 units. Okay. What are the firm's total revenue at the price of the product and the price of the product? Okay, so I have just solved this. This is again an easy question. So as you all know, the formula for average revenue is nothing but total revenue divided by quantity. All right. So in this case, we know average revenue is $20 and total revenue is TR divided by quantity they have given 1000. So in this case, I know my total revenue in this case would be 20,000. Just do a cross multiplication. 20 into 1000 will give you 20,000. All right. So now the question is, firm's total revenue would be obviously 20,000 and price. So always remember, your average revenue is nothing but it is my price. Okay, so I'll also explain how it is. So the right answer in this thing would be option number C. Okay, why your average revenue is price? See, now understand over here. This I can even, okay, okay, now understand total revenue. What's the formula for total revenue? Total revenue means what? The total quantity sold multiplied by the price per unit. So I can even write this total revenue as quantity, the total quantity sold in multiply by price. So in this case, if I do that, if I do that way, so like for example, total quantity into price. Okay, and I'll write over here as quantity. So if you all can see over here, this quantity is cancelled. So average revenue would be equal to price. That's the reason always remember your AR and price would be the same thing. Okay, so the right answer is option number C. That is total revenue 20,000, price is 20. Okay, let's move ahead. Question number 16. A competitive industry becomes monopoly. What is most likely advantage of for consumers? Okay, so if it's becoming a monopoly, the question is advantages. Now, consumer choices may increase. Okay, economies of scale may reduce price. Okay, next question would be, next option is option number C, more goods may be produced. Okay, prices may be set by market forces. Okay, now again simple thing. Competitive industry is becoming a monopoly. So monopoly may you will have less number of choices. So this is eliminated. More goods cannot be produced. Prices may be set by market forces. No. So the right option would be option number B. Why? Because if you're having a monopoly, that means you're producing on a larger scale. So whenever you're producing, your production is happening on a larger scale, you are able to reduce price because of economies of scale. Hence, B is the right answer. Okay. Question number 17. What will cause real GDP to rise in a country? Okay. Real GDP. Nominal GDP rising at a faster rate than employment. Okay. Nominal GDP rising faster than inflation. Okay. Nominal GDP rising faster than population. Nominal GDP rising. Okay. So in this case, always remember what is nominal GDP and real GDP. Real GDP means it's adjusted to inflation. Okay. So in this case, the right answer would be nominal GDP rising faster than the inflation. In that case, your real GDP would be high. Why? Because if inflation happened by suppose 5% and your nominal GDP increased by 10%, so in that case, your real GDP would have been will increase in that case. All right, because if you all know this concept, then this question would be easier. This doesn't make sense because employment is not more related. This would be more helpful when you are calculating GDP per capita. All right, so this both is eliminated. This doesn't make sense. So the right option would be option number B. Okay, now let's move ahead with question number 18. What is money supply? The total quantity of foreign currency available with the economy. Okay, foreign currency, no. The total quantity of money available within the economy, yes, this makes sense. C option, the total quantity of money issued by the central bank, no. The total quantity of money within which macroeconomic policy is most likely to achieve economic growth and price stability at the same time. All right, so if you see the option, they are fiscal policy, import barriers, monetary policies, and supply side policy. So class, one thing you'll understand, so normally what happens, if an economy wants economic growth to happen, so in this case, even what I can say, the inflation will increase, I mean the price will not be stable. uh, so remember this thing, but the question is both is happening, I mean economic growth is happening and the price is stable, I mean the inflation is not happening. So in that case, if you say fiscal policy, the answer is wrong, because fiscal policy may, if you want the economic growth, if they are decreasing the tax in order to increase the economic growth, same time there would be an increase in demand and inflation will rise, so price won't be stable. So this won't be the correct answer. Import barriers, again this, if you're levying an import, so I don't think this is more appropriate, so this is anyways eliminated. Monetary policies, again monetary policies, one of the monetary policies, interest. So if I want to decrease the interest rate, if I need to decrease the interest rate in order to increase the economic growth, again the inflation will increase in this case. Why? Because people will demand more, and inflation is bond, I mean inflation will rise in this case. So again this is eliminated. So the right answer for this option would be option number D. Because why option number D? Because it's supply side policy. Supply side policy, like for example, one of the supply side policy would be, suppose, technological development. So because of some kind of technology, what happened? My productivity, or I would say my cost of production decreased. So because my cost of production decreased, what happened in this case? My productivity increased, and my productivity increased at the same time price didn't increase. So that's the reason I would say D is the right answer for this. All right. Now moving ahead with the next question, that is question number 20th. What is the definition of economic growth? So clear cut, they have asked you the definition. First one, I'm sorry, there are a lot of birds chirping sound which you can hear behind. So please ignore them. So first option over here is, it is an increase in the general level of price over time. Okay, this is, I would say, inflation would be the right answer for this. Okay, second, it's an increase in the level of national output over in time. This is appropriate one. Let's also see the other option. It's an increase in the level of total demand over time. No, this is not appropriate. It's actually, I would say, it's the increase in the level of national output. That would be the right thing. And fourth option, it's an increase in wages, interest, profit, and rent over time. No, this is, anyways, it doesn't make sense. All right. So the right answer would be option number B. Moving ahead with the next question. Question number 21. What causes cyclical unemployment in a recession? Okay, so I hope you all know what is cyclical unemployment. There are three types of unemployment: cyclical, structural, and uh, fictional unemployment. A permanent decrease in the demand for labor, a permanent decrease for demand for labor, no. This would be more in terms of structural, I would say. A permanent decrease in the supply of labor, no. Third, a temporary decrease in the demand for labor. Yes, this is more appropriate. A temporary decrease in the supply uh, of labor. Again, this is not the right one. Because now understand, is there is a recession. Because of recession, demand is less. Now because demand is less, there would be less demand of the labor. So that's the reason C is the right answer, and it's temporary. Why? Because I can't say recession is permanent. Right? After 6 months, there would be some boom period. There would be some economic growth happening. So it is a temporary period. So C is the right one. All right. Moving ahead to option number question number 22. The table shows government expenditure and revenue in selected years. So year 1, 2, 3, government expenditure, tax revenue, so and so. Okay. Now, what might explain the changes in government budget over the period? So that's the question over here. So if you see over here, the government expenditure is continuously increasing, but the tax revenue is continuously decreasing. So let's see the options. A fall in the dependency ratio, okay, a fall in the exchange rate. Option number C, an increase in cyclical unemployment. Option number D, an increase in real GDP. So option number D is eliminated because if GDP is increasing, the tax revenue should actually increase. But if you see it's decreasing, a fall on dependency ratio may the expenditure should decrease, but it's increasing. So even this is eliminated. Option number B, a fall in exchange rate. This is more. This will influence more the import and export, which will influence the balance of payment. So I don't think this is also the more appropriate answer over here. The right answer would be option number C, because an increase in cyclical unemployment. Because cyclical unemployment is increasing, the government expenditure towards the unemployment benefits are increasing. At the same time, the taxes or the revenue collected from taxes is getting decreased. Why? Because unemployment is increasing. Hence, C is the right answer. Alright. Now let's move ahead to question number 23. Okay, so for attempting this question, you all should know these three things. I mean, first of all, you all should know what is deflation. So whenever you all see the word deflation, it is nothing but it is decrease in the price level, I would say. Okay, like for example, one product you were purchasing for suppose $10, now it has decreased to $9. So that is known as deflation. And inflation, as we know, that there is an increase in the price. Like for example, from $10, the product is been next year the product is price is $20. So there is a increase in the product price. So this is inflation. Disinflation, remember this concept. Disinflation is nothing but there is an increase in the price, but at a the rate of inflation is at a lower rate compared to the previous year. Like for example, here it increased by 100%, but over here this increased by maybe 22. So there is an increase, but only by 10%. So that is disinflation. But in the previous year, it was increased by 100%. So that is inflation. All right. So now the question is, which country is most likely to be following policy of preventing deflation? So basically, in which situation the price will not decrease? So that is the question. So money supply should be obviously increasing. If money supply is decreasing, demand will decrease, price will decrease. So both of them should be eliminated. Let's see. Government spending, obviously government spending should also increase, then only your demand will increase and price will increase. Okay. Taxation, taxation should decrease, taxation should not increase, because if taxation is increasing, it is decreasing your disposable income, which is further decreasing your demand. Hence C is the right answer. I hope you all understood this question. All right. So C is the correct answer for this one. Moving ahead to question number 24, that is, workers in Switzerland earn more on average than workers in Mexico. What is likely cause of this? Okay. Okay, so let's see the options. A greater percentage of workers in Switzerland work part-time than in Mexico. Okay, work part-time. But the question is, workers in Switzerland is earning more. So if they're working part-time, how they'll earn more than Mexico? So this doesn't make sense. The average of workers in Switzerland is more productive than the average worker in Mexico. Yes, this makes sense to me. Let's also see the other option. Option number C. The average worker in Switzerland pays more income tax than average worker in Mexico. Okay, so now this is the effect. Understand? The question is the cause, but the option number C is the effect of earning more. So this is again eliminated. Option number D, the unemployment rate is higher in Switzerland than in Mexico. Again, if the unemployment rate is higher, then the people of Switzerland would work at a lower rate or lower money, right? So how they will earn more, the people in Switzerland. So again, this is eliminated. So the right option would be option number B. That is, the average worker in Switzerland is more productive. Okay, so what do I mean by productive? The productivity is more. That means average per worker, the units which they are producing per worker is more in Switzerland compared to Mexico. That's the reason they are more productive. That's the reason they are paid more, so they are able to earn more. I hope this question is clear. So let's move ahead to question number D, that is so question number 25, that is, the table contains details on birth rate, death rate and net migration for several countries in a year. Okay, Australia, Brazil, Nigeria, US, birth rate, death rate, net migration given. What can be concluded from the table? Alright, so over here they have given details over here. Negative 3 lakh meaning people have left from the country. Alright, and 8 lakh 50 people are coming in. So remember this. Let's see this thing. Only one country, Nigeria, has decreasing population. One country, Nigeria, has decreasing population. uh, I can't say this. This doesn't make most sense to me. The country with the lowest birth rate had the lowest death rate. So lowest death rate is 6 and lowest birth rate is 12 over here. So again, this doesn't make sense. The country with the lowest death rate, that is 6, had the highest birth rate. Again, lowest death rate is 6, highest birth rate is Nigeria, that is 39. Again, this both of them are eliminated. Now let's see this one. The country with the lowest natural rate of increase of population was US. Let's see now. Let's just take the difference amongst the birth and the death rate, so we'll understand this option is right or wrong. So if you can see birth rate and death rate, the difference 13 minus 7, this would be how much? 6, right? 6% I would say is the death increase, is the birth rate. 14%, by the way, rate means percent, okay? So death rate 7%, 13%. 14% minus 6%, this would be how much? 7 over here. Sorry, this would be 8, my bad. Okay, now 39 minus 12, so this will give me uh, so 39 minus 12, this will give me 27%. Okay, and the last one, this will give me 4%. So if you see the last option, that is the country with the lowest natural rate of increase in population is US. So you can see over here the option number D make sense to me. So you can see it's increasing by only 4%, while else you can see other countries, the natural rate means the birth and the death rate, they are excluding the migration wala part. So that's the reason D would be the right answer for this. All right. Moving ahead with the next question. Question number 26 over here. Which combination best describe the characteristic of high income economy? So high income economy, GDP per head should be obviously high, HDI should be high, and percentage of labor force working in a in a tertiary sector, this also should be high. So the right answer would be obviously A. So if you the question is about high income economy, so this is a direct question. So all these three categories, three things combination should be high, then only it will be it would be one of the characteristic of a high income economy. Okay, direct question. Okay, now moving ahead with the next question, question number 27. what might encourage international specialization between country? Okay, so the question is international specialization. Now in this case, free trade, okay, inefficiencies in production, labor immobility, and the last one is option number D, tariff. Tariff. So now this tariff is directly eliminated, because if there is tariff is nothing but tax, right? Taxes on import and exports. So if there is the government is levying taxes, so there is no point of like the import and export would be costlier. So there would be no international specialization between countries. So this is eliminated. uh, Free trade, yes, this is the right answer, because when there is a free trade, I would be making whenever there would be an export and import between those countries, it will be cheaper. So free trade would be right answer. B, again, let's see the other two options, that is B, inefficiencies in production. This is again doesn't make sense, because if you would be you are efficient, that's the reason you are specializing in something, and you are exporting to other country, right? So inefficiency doesn't make sense. Again, labor immobility, this again, this doesn't make sense, because if the laborers are not mobile enough, so in that case you will not be able to specialize, or your production would be hampered. So the right answer, or the most correct one, would be option number A, that is free trade. Okay, now moving ahead with the next question, that is question number 28. A government wishes to stop the dumping of a specific imported good at a very low price. Okay, which method product protection would be the most effective? That is, apply an embargo to this good. Next is devalue the currency, increase the interest rate, provide subsidies to home producers of this good. Okay, now the question is, first of all, you all should know what is dumping. Dumping is nothing but some other country is trying to dump their product in my country at a very cheaper rate, or at a cheaper price than the products which are produced in my home countries. Okay, like for example, China is able to dump, just an example, the steel in India even at a lower rate than what is produced in India. The domestic companies which they can produce, they are able to sell. Chinese people are able to sell the same steel at a lower price. That is dumping. Okay, so in this case, government, the question is, which method protection would be the most effective? So most effective, or I can say directly it will be impacted. So in this case, apply an embargo. This would be the most appropriate. Embargo is nothing but ban on that product. So if government is telling that there is a ban on Chinese steel which has been imported to India, that would be the most effective, rather than levying a tax or doing the other things. Okay, next let's see this, devalue the currency. So see, again, devalue the currency will make import costlier, but again, this is not the most effective. Okay, increase the interest rate, this to impacts the demand of my country, the demand of my country. So again, this is not that appropriate. Anyways, provide subsidies to the home producers of this good. Again, this is one of the method, but this is not the most effective. Like for example, the government is giving subsidies to the steel manufacturers of India. So this will play a significant role, but not as much effective as option number A. So the question is most effective, hence the right answer would be option number A. I hope this question is clear. Now let's move ahead to the second last question, that is question number 29. The price of US dollar in terms of other countries is set by the forces of demand and supply. To what does this statement refer? So let's see the options. An alternative method of trade protection. Option number B, the determination of this exchange rate in a fixed exchange rate system. Okay, option number C, the determination of exchange rate in a floating exchange rate system. Okay, option number D, the increasing globalization of international trade. Okay, now let's understand, the question is, the price of US dollar in terms of other currencies is set by forces of demand and supply. So what do I mean by forces of demand and supply? That the increase of US dollar is depend on the demand and supply of US dollar. So basically the market forces. So obviously this statement refers to an alternative method of trade protection. No, this is nowhere related. The determination of an exchange rate in a fixed exchange rate system. So it is not fixed exchange rate system, but the right answer would be option number C, that is the determination of exchange rate in a floating exchange rate system. Because in this exchange rate, my currency, the value of my currency is dependent on the demand and supply of my currency. Okay, so that's the reason option number C is the most appropriate one. Option number D, again it's eliminated, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, an increasing globalization of international trade. Okay, no, but C is the right one. Okay, now let's see the last question. The diagram shows the value of countries export and import of goods over 5 years, between which 2 years that the country has an increase in the value of imports and improvement in the balance of trade. Okay, so the question is about improvement in the balance of trade in goods. So the diagram which they have given is the export and import of goods. So the question is improvement. So between 1 and 2, if you all can see, let's see the option 1 and 2. 1 and 2, if you see over here, there was no improvement over here. In fact, if you can see, this is my import. The red shaded one or the gray shaded one, this one is my import. So over here, my import was $15 million. Over here in year 2, the import has increased actually, whereas my export is the same at 20. So this was not an improvement at all. So A is eliminated. Let's see option number B, 2 and 3. So 2 and 3 may, if you can see, again over here my import was around I would say maybe 16 and a half something, or I can say 17. Over here my import increased. Okay, so there was no improvement over here in year 2 and 3, because if you can see over here, if I'm saying this as maybe 17 and my export 20, so 20 minus 70, I would have a good surplus of $3 million. Okay, so for which year? This is year 2. And in year 3, if you can see, the export has increased to 25 million, but the import also has increased maybe to $24 million. Okay, so in year 3, if you ask me, yes, the export has increased, but in terms of the balance of trade, there is only a surplus of $1. $1, I mean $1 million. So again, there is no improvement in year 2 and 3. Okay, so let's see now 3 and 4. Yes, here I can see some improvement. In year 4, if you all can see, just wait a second, let me rub this. So in year 4, if you all can see, there is an increase in the export up to, I feel this is around 29 something. So $29 million has been exported, whereas my import is $25. So here if you can see, there is a clear cut improvement of $4 million in year 4. So yes, I feel year 3 and 4 is more appropriate. Let's also see year 4 and 5. 4 and 5 may again I can see the gap is more compared to this gap. So I think the correct answer would be option number C. Option number 4 and 5 doesn't make sense. The gap is clearly more than this. So this would be the right answer. That is option number C. Okay, so I hope you all understood each and every questions of this past paper. If you all have any doubt, please let me know. Please comment, so I'll get back to you if you all have any doubt. All right, till then, thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye bye.